guys. Here we are. I hope everybody's doing good. Been off this week. I apologize for the podcast covering the Dolphins. My wife's desire to move to the mountains had us move to the mountains, and that's what we're doing all week. But we got a huge news today. I got Cody with me tonight. I think some other people are going to stop on by. Talk about OBJ to the Dolphins. That's crazy, isn't it, Cody? Tell me how crazy that is. Let me hear what you're talking.
I'm going to be a homer on this one, so get ready for it.
That's all right.
I'm pretty juiced.
It's okay. So give me the talk, man. Tell me what you think.
Oh, you want it now? I thought you were.
Yeah, it's the biggest news. I'm going to go right into it after you.
Okay. Well, I think I don't want to call him like a generational talent. I'm not trying to go to that level, but he's a talent. He's a natural athlete. Like the guy he's done amazing things on the field when he's at his peak, when he's healthy. The hands, the route running, his whole route tree. The guy's just a first down monster. Like sticky hands all the way, touchdowns. Like that's what they're going to throw the fade to. We're going to get him on the boundary a little bit. We're going to get him in the slot. We're going to get him. He's going to earn his money, and I'm pretty juiced about it. I think the guy he still has it. He still looks good. As long as his knees hold up, this guy's going to make hay. And he's the number 3. He's the number 3. And there was a lot of guys we were like, okay, could Malik be the number 3? Like we're trying to talk ourselves into thinking we might have it on the roster. And then the whole time, Brew's like, nope, I had this whole time, guys. I was either going to get a top wide out or I had Odell. You guys just been talking about it for fun, man. I knew what I was doing. So, I don't know. He's going to eat, Curtis. He's going to eat.
Hey, Sharif, what's going on there, brother? It's good to hear from you.
Man, how you guys doing, man? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Man, I tell you what.
It's been a while. I know you've been busy. You work like an animal.
Yeah, now this thing has been going around. So guys, be careful. Keep your immune systems up. You know, I never had a pink eye since I was a kid. And all of a sudden, you know, here comes the pink eye again. So that kind of left me under the weather a bit. And I very rarely miss work. It felt kind of odd going to the doctor and getting a doctor slip to miss days. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but
you're getting younger, man. You're getting younger. Good genes, man. I'm getting old, the dog years, and you're getting younger.
I tell you what, man. But I am very excited. You know, we have a lot to digest, guys.
Oh man, we're loaded. Hold on, got hooked up Joe here too, man. We got a full roster.
That's fins up, man. How you doing, Joe?
Fins up.
What's going on, Joe?
Joe, you got a pretty cool little thing that moves when you talk. Say something again. Look at that dolphin.
Man, he's hot to trot. He's a tech guy, man. It's not fair. I can't even get my internet right. Anyway, we're gonna go around to everybody. Sharif, you're on deck. You tell us now what you think about the tell us about OBJ, and Joe, you're next, and then we'll leave the monkey boy for last, which will be me. You there, Sharif?
Yes, I am. So
rock and roll, man. Give us your 2 cents, your take, man.
My take on Odell is, well, we had this discussion before, Curtis. You know, I really didn't think we need him, and I absolutely didn't think we need him after bringing in the Washingtons. But it is what it is. When you think about Ramsey, and you think about what they did with the Rams together, I think Ramsey can kind of, shoulder that this kid will do well for us.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, man.
Yeah, what I mean is not a disruption. He's not kicking, the kicker's net, the punter's net, and these kinds of things, or, basically allowing McDaniel and Greer to still be the highlight of this team. And if that's the case, and Tyreek and Odell are not the highlight off the field, and I think that's what you can hope for the best in that scenario for me. But it's so easy for him to be Odell again and then want what he wants, and then now the press conferences are not about the Dolphins anymore. We've been down that road with Jonathan Martin and these other types of guys. So I'm just gonna hope that he keeps his mouth shut and just plays football.
I think he will.
Yeah, I think at this point of his career, he has no choice. I'm trying to type and talk. I can barely do one thing at once, much less two things. I think at 31 years old, he really didn't have as many takers. I don't think he'd be crazy. You never know, but I don't think he's that much of a prima donna. I think there's a little bit in there, but he's not like a Brown type guy who's totally melt. So I don't know. I think Hill might be a guy because I'll get into my point. Joe, man, what do you think? What do you think, Joe?
I was very surprised. It just seemed like it came out of the blue. I'm like,
I know.
gee, did that happen? I thought it was going to just blow over after we got our two wide receivers. As I noted in the email, our roster is stacked. I mean, it's really going to be a tough decision there on the wide receiver. But I think it is. I think it's. I think if the coaches are really up for it and they actually went for it and think we need that wide receiver 3 to be the real threat, and he wears number 3. So he's, our wide receiver
Born,
3
brother.
and making 3 million base, which really isn't
Oh,
that bad, I mean,
That's
chump change.
yeah. And if he gets his incentives and deserves incentives, then we did good to get him. So I think it's a smart way to go with it. And it was a surprise, but I'm happy with it. I'm fine. I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
I don't think there's. I can't see any negatives to it. I was actually going. I moved to the mountains. I don't know if I've said at the beginning. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm like 1,500. The electric went out, of course. The internet went out, of course. And so I was like, I'm recording a podcast. I couldn't do it. So I had my whole thing. But I kept going over. It's mostly good stuff. The only problem you could see, maybe Hill gets a little jealous. Maybe he doesn't get the catches he wants. I don't know. Maybe. Can you spread the ball around to Jonnu, Waddle, Hill, OBJ? Then you got the Washingtons, Berrios, Cochran. Somebody's going to get cut. And the thing I do like that we haven't mentioned about OBJ, and I'm going to go to the good things I like about OBJ. He's a good blocker. Not a great blocker, but he did better last year. Grayed out better than Waddle and Hill in the run game. And I think that's a big deal. I think this guy is a sure hand. How many drops did we have? Hill had some key drops in the red zone.
Waddle
He's only had one. I think Alf told me last time or something. He's had one drop. So you're going to take the drops off. You get a little bit of guy who could block a little bit. You get a guy who could play wide. I'm just going to put this little graphique I did up here. You can't run cover 2 when these 3 wide receivers are out there. You're going to have to play cover 3, man, or cover 4. You're going to have to probably play off unless you're like one of the few secondaries that can play man. I mean, I don't know. There's a few, but it's going to be very risky. And so the defensive menu gets skimmed a little bit. You're going to have the linebackers play off. This is going to open up the edges for the run game. It should open up the inside run game. I think that's really good news. And then, you look, if you put OBJ on the outside, he played 80% of his snaps on the edge and 20% inside, but you put Hill in that Y inside slots position, and he can cover the entire field. He can threaten the entire field in 2.2, 2.3 seconds. And then Waddle can cover pretty much 2/3. OBJ maybe 1/3. Jonnu about 60%. So you can have 3 guys that legitimately threaten portions of the field. It's be very, very difficult to stop. Now,
I may.
Yeah, sure. Sharif, step in there.
If I may, you made such a great point, and to your credit, Curtis, the first time I ever did more research on a force multiplier is you. And what it really says to me is, you remember 2 years ago, you were talking about just having one force multiplier that was Waddle, and imagine like any other, at that time it was Cedric Wilson, but you got Tyreek, which is 2 force multipliers. And now you got Odell, which is another force not because of his speed.
And even Jonnu.
Because of his elite route running. And then you're talking about a guy who can basically, his radius is infinity. his catch radius. So we haven't even factored that in. So when I think about force multipliers, and you put up the diagram just now, whether any of these guys go in slot, Y, or X, you're talking about the field. When McDaniel snaps the ball in any San Francisco offense, in this case is the wide zone, after snap, it's gonna be like 4 guys to block, because all of the attention, like Curtis is trying to explain in the diagram, is going to be either to Waddle and Odell, or to Waddle and Tyreek, or to Tyreek and Odell. And in this case, when you're running to the opposite side because the defense is already sucked in and pre-committed, you're talking about going to the house with A-Chain or this kid Jalen.
Yep.
It's going to open. Continue, Curtis.
Oh, no. To me, it's football is a game of leverage. And if you ever played at any position, you always understand. You're always trying to get extra, and the leverage always does that. And so, a defense now, when you play, you're either playing over or under. So you're either on top of the guy or you're underneath him. It's one or the other. And if you're under, that means you're giving the over. And if you're over, you're giving the under. And so if you have Hill, Waddle, and OBJ, then you add in Jonnu, you're going to have to take away the top. You're going to play over, which means you're going to give the under, which is going to create incredible rack opportunities for, say, an A-Chan to catch the football, Jonnu to catch the football, Hill, Waddle, whoever, because you're going to have to give leverage. And it's going to create if you go back to this, so if you notice at the end of the season, what they would do is the linebackers would drop into that pocket post. They would immediately drop. They'd play off and they'd drop into that pocket post area. And then they would lay the wood on the receivers, or they would get into that point where two would actually put extra height over on the ball. Now, that's going to happen again, but it's going to even happen more, but it's going to create the underneath. And it's going to allow Tua to have more completions, easier completions. It's allowing them to take that West Coast element that Walsh originally implemented, which was the simple throw, allow the receiver to make the play. Don't make the quarterback have to make every play. Tua's had to make a ton of plays. He's constantly had to throw the ball into these spots. But now once you create this extraordinary amount of leverage, some teams are going to be able to play it, different ways. There's ways you can handle it. I mean, you go back and you look at the way the Patriots played us with the heavy over and make us play underneath. But it's going to be even harder because now you have Jonnu, which you really didn't have before. Now you have OBJ. But there's going to be so many rack opportunities and space is going to be created. And do you want to give Hill, Jonnu, Waddle, OBJ, Achane, the ball with space? And so I think it's going to raise I don't know if I put this up again. Yeah, the big guys in town are going to hey, what's going on, hippie? What's going on? So it's really going to be a serious conundrum. Now, the thing, I don't want Sharif's gone. Did I chase him off? He'll be back. The thing is that I don't want Dolphins fans, from my standpoint, I could be totally wrong, but I don't want to light the gas that it's going to be Super Bowl bound. I think the key for me is the philosophies. Greer has a unique, interesting philosophy. It's clear that he said, I'm leaning into that philosophy. He's brought in huge amounts of elements to lean into that finesse edge run, pass the football philosophy, and it could turn out to be totally brilliant. And the beauty of OBJ now is that philosophy is absolutely crystallized. You see the Bills, they're going more physical. You see the Jets, they're investing on the O-line, the Chargers, the Bengals, even the Chiefs, even though they added what's his face, Worthy. Will this philosophy be the brilliant philosophy to drive us? I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. At this stage, if it doesn't get driven, then you have to evaluate, well, why not? And is it because Tua didn't do his job, you have to evaluate that fairly. You're going to get a bad evaluation. Is it the offensive line didn't do its job? And you're going to evaluate that as well. But there's no way that if you're a below average team, an average team, or an above average team, you're going to be wetting yourself all week. And I think this does give us an opportunity to drive this philosophy and to see if it's really good. I think there's nothing negative about this whatsoever. The only thing is this the right philosophy? We'll see. What do you think there, Joe?
I think if you're going with that philosophy, getting the fact that he can run block too, and just add some, it's kind of a hidden gem of his capability. I mean, the last thing you think about when you think about star receiver / possible prima donna person, people might say, is that he's going to be blocking, and you have to block. I mean, I think that's one reason that we went ahead and did it, is because if you don't block, you don't get the rock, and it's just all part of the way we play.
Yep.
So he kind of fits in that regard, and I do expect a lot more run this year. I mean, last year was a lot more run than the previous year. He was run game coordinator. We all know you have to be able to successfully run to be able to pass, and see if we can pass to set up the run some more.
Well, that's the thing is if I mean, clearly we ran to the edge with some serious pop runs. I mean, it was amazing to see some of the stuff we did. The consistency in a run game, a little bit more inside run game, and how do you stop this offense? And so it's going to be very interesting. And that we don't know, and about my only concern beyond that is Tua going to get a fair evaluation? If the kid doesn't do it.
Did we freeze? You
I
there,
think,
Joe?
I'm here. Looks like Curtis might have frozen up there.
All right. Well, hopefully he comes back. I guess we'll just keep going. So the thing I'm most excited about, because we all been following this team for a long time, and there's just been change after change, coaches, schemes, owners. We really have had no continuity, and Mike is bringing that right now. And it seems like our DC is getting the guys he wants right away. Everybody is like synergizing, working together right now. It's pretty clear. And all we just have to see, to me, is just the evolution of the offense, everything that we couldn't do last year. We couldn't run up the middle. We weren't physical enough. The red zone, we didn't have a power run game when we needed it, even just 3rd and 2. But if you took a wish list of everything we needed in the offseason, and we're staring at 60 million under, and we say, here's all the holes we need to fill, we really did. Besides the offensive line, we really filled. D-tackle, we got 8 of them. I don't know. I'm not an expert enough to know if that's going to really bring our run game defense down. I hope somebody steps up, but linebacker, corner with X leaving, we got Poyer in, Jonnu Smith, OBJ, guys on the even Driscoll re-signing Lamb. Like we have pieces right now, and it just really feels like we can do something. I know I'm a homer, but I just think we're moving as a unit, as a team. The GM, the coach, the owner, everybody is on the same page, and that's a powerful energy that I don't think people really think about. It's the X's and O's, it's talent, but it's their whole world, all their energy going together for one goal. This is a special team, I think. So I'm juiced, man. I'm juiced.
I am
what
too.
about you, Joe?
I do, and I'm with Happy Hippie 110 about the offensive line there. We all, when McDaniel took over the team, we had the 32nd ranked offensive line, and they got it up into the 20s, just with scheme and coaching. And I mean, they didn't even have the tight end room was not in sync with being part of the offensive line before he came in. I mean, it's just the scheme that we have on offensive line and the coaching that we have allows us to actually build talent. So I think that the Paul guy we got in to play
Paul
behind Armstead is, I think, the brilliant move, because one thing I've been harping on with the offensive line is we need to get a talent in here that can be healthy. What we had to do before is we had to get in vets because we didn't have the coaching needed to actually build the offensive line. So we had to pay for vets to come in and try to understand what they need to do without proper coaching, kind of. And now we're able to hold on a second.
Yep, you good?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Sharif is putting something in chat here.
Oh.
Okay.
You guys in the chat thoughts on Odell undrafted in our picks. So I'm not a draft expert. I can't rate the draft. There's guys that I think I'm really excited about. To me, the draft felt like we're kind of planning for now, but we're trying to just kind of increment this team better and better. Maybe I don't understand the all in or rebuilding. It seems like that's how people look at teams. There's the retool category, but it seems like what's the middle ground of not all in, but I am going to keep my cap hits pretty high. I'm going to be right there dancing on the edge of the salary cap, but I have a loaded roster. I do have young talent. We're going into the draft next year with picks. Like, can we just keep this level going of incrementing, getting better and better every year? And yeah, maybe it's not big flashes, but that adds up, and that becomes a powerful momentum to ride there. So
right,
I see
I'm
it
totally
right now, right in front of my eyes,
100% on the whole idea that we have a win now window. To me, I don't subscribe to the theory that we need to have a win now window. We try, and in fact, we tried the win now window. The whole we're going to buy a team to win right now. And I know when you look at Odell Beckham, you think, well, okay, we're still in win now mode because we went and got Odell Beckham, and that means that we're in win now mode still. You're always in win now mode to a degree, but this year we did not. We didn't mortgage the future again, like we've been stacking on mortgage after mortgage after mortgage and kicking so much stuff down the road that this year it all came to a head. And we just had to say, okay, we got to dump Wilkins. We got to take big steps. And to me, we did everything right we needed to do